impact the momentum that you guys had offensively?
Yeah, I thought once we kind of got that, obviously we let that first one go in, but we got to give them crowds a hell of a shot. So, we felt like we got better each period. Obviously, first game back, we needed a little bit better start.
Jared, it seemed like they were disrupting your transition game early. What did you see from them, and how did you guys try and correct?
They skate well. Their D have great gaps, and they're tough to make plays through. So, sometimes in that situation, you just got to get pucks behind them, and I don't think we did enough of that tonight.
Did you think it got better at all as the game went on?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, our best was the third, and I feel like we just got to keep getting better and better.
And they played with.
That is Jared McCann saying, felt that the best period for the Seattle Kraken against Philadelphia was the third period. I think I have some data points that would say maybe that's not the case. We'll talk about that and more coming up on this live pregame episode of Locked On Kraken.
You are Locked On Kraken, your daily podcast on the Seattle Kraken, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are the Seattle Kraken.
What's cracking, Seattle hockey fans? Happy game day. We've got a game day today. We've got a game day tomorrow, and we got to talk about the game day that was. I'm Erica L. Ayala, your host of Locked On Kraken. We are, of course, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we bring you your favorite team every single day, giving you analysis, and we have some things to analyze. Also, I'm going to bring not the button bag back, but we're going to do some playing cards. So if you're watching live, pick a number 1 through 6. Just go ahead and trust me. We'll get to it later in the show. But pick a number 1 through 6 and put it in the chat. I'm curious to see what the vibes are going into this game. I want to let you know that this episode of Locked On Kraken brought to you by our friends at Sleeper. And you don't want to be sleeping on an opportunity to make some money off of the analysis that you get here on Locked On Kraken and the Locked On Podcast Network. So download the Sleeper app and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Again, Erica L. Ayala coming to you. This is a live pregame show. It's a game day. We're going to mostly talk about the Devils, but I feel like I have to talk about the Flyers in order to get you ready for the New Jersey Devils. Played a little clip as I was getting ready to go live here from Jared McCann. Said that he felt the Seattle Kraken had their best performance in the third period, to which, respectfully, Jared, I'm trying to understand what you're talking about. There's a few things that I want to show you here, and I just don't think that was the case. There are data points galore that tell us that the third period wasn't necessarily great for the Seattle Kraken. One is, of course, I like to see the game flow charts that Natural Stat Trick does. You look at the game flow. This was all Flyers all night. And, we can't afford to have games like this given where we are in the playoff hunt. And we'll talk about that in a little bit here. But I'm going to put this full screen for those watching on YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, don't worry. I'll explain this to you. But basically, you're looking at a graphic here. Too big. You're looking at a graphic here. It's split on the horizon line horizontally with Philadelphia at the top, the Seattle Kraken at the bottom. The horizon line is that median, right? So anything that's at the top of the horizon line, that means it's all Philadelphia. And they have the momentum at that point in the game. And below the horizon line, that's Seattle. And if you're watching alongside me live on YouTube, then you can see that the game flow line never dips into the Kraken territory. We never had control of this game. in the last 40 minutes of the game, and this is something I was listening to the Kraken radio network. I thought they did a really great job. Mike Benton, Al, and Everett did a great job reacting to the Philly game. And I think it was Al who maybe mentioned, or maybe Everett, one of our radio guys, aka not Mike, mentioned that in the last 2 periods, the shots, we were outshot. The Seattle Kraken were outshot 29-9. And then I saw a tweet that I thought was wild immediately following the game. You know, I haven't been feeling well, so I didn't want to do any post-game stuff. But an unfun fact tweeted Sound of Hockey. Jared McCann scored for the Seattle Kraken 36 seconds into the third period. Seattle's next shot on goal came with 32 seconds left in the period, all caps for emphasis. Also by Jared McCann. 2 total shots for the Kraken in the third period. Both shots by Jared McCann. So yeah, when I say respectfully, I disagree with you, Jared. I don't think the third period was particularly great. If you thought that was your best period, I mean, okay. I think there's something to say about maybe this being a little bit of a slow start. I don't know that I'm entertaining that. I understand why it's a topic, but I don't think I want to entertain that. So was it a slow start? Was it too much rest? And again, the radio guys talked about that a little bit. We'll get into that. But this wasn't a good game. It certainly wasn't a great game. It wasn't a good game, in my opinion, in my estimation, for the Seattle Kraken. So they're going to need to figure out how to take what happened in Philly and not have it happen in New Jersey. Now, there's a few things that we need to know about the Flyers, and we talked about it on the last episode. One of the things that we need to know is that this is a Flyers team that has a proper power kill. That means that when they're on the penalty kill, or at the disadvantage, the power kill is this idea that your penalty, when you're shorthanded, you're so good that it's actually a strength. And we talked about that the other day. And Allison Lucan does amazing analysis work, and that's why analytics are so important, because it's one thing to give up a shorthanded goal. I mean, shorthanded goals are going to happen, but it's almost expected. It's almost expected when you play a team like the Philadelphia Flyers. Let's give you some quick stats. Philly scored twice in the first frame. It was Tomas Tatar, just a really great goal. And then we give up again the power play goal. So the first Philly goal was the first goal of the game. That's a power play goal early in the game. That's number one. You know, special teams we'll talk about. We get it tied. Beautiful rocket shot by Tomas Tatar. But then shorthanded goal. The Tomas Tatar goal, was it the Tatar goal? I guess it was. Where listen, they reviewed it. We get a power play. I mean, they reviewed it, so I guess you go with the call that they make after the review. I didn't agree with it, but I'm not working in Toronto, so. But as if almost to just to add insult to injury, we get the power play because Philadelphia challenged our goal, and then we give up a shorthanded goal. All of that happened in the first period. Mm-hmm. All that happened in the first period. Deflating. Power play, 0 for 3 for the Seattle Kraken, 1 for 5 for the Philadelphia Flyers. And McCann gets that goal, as I mentioned, early in the third period. So you like that. And I guess that's what he's talking about. Maybe we had more energy, as in the first 30 seconds, we were actually alive. Ugh. Remember, in case you missed the thumbnail, the title of this, at least on YouTube, episode is "We Gave No Fs." And if you're an everydayer and an OGer, you know what I mean. And yeah, I'm totally playing into the we gave no Fs. But we didn't. We gave none of the 3 Fs. And if you are an everydayer, then you know where I'm going with this. The game wasn't particularly fun. We did not get off to a fast start. And the forechecking wasn't there. So we gave no Fs. We gave no Fs in this game. And we have to give all of the Fs. All of the 3 Fs, and then probably a few others I haven't thought of. We need Fs. We need all of the Fs. All of the Fs, all of the time. For the rest of the season. If we want to make the finals, which is also an F. All of the Fs, all of the time, boys. We don't have time to F around. All of the Fs, all of the time. That's what I have to say about that. Not a quality start per the statistics for Joey Decord. And I've been talking about this for a little bit now. Al on Kraken Radio said this. Not an A+ game for Joey Decord. Maybe he wanted something back. Maybe Vince Dunn wanted something back. Those things are going to happen. I don't want to talk about defense because I will get very upset and I will completely go off of my show notes. So let's not even do that. Let's just talk about goaltending. Am I mad that maybe Joey Decord let one slip? The shorthanded one, I'm first of all, again, trying not to focus on defense, but possession, baby. You got to have possession of the puck when you have the advantage. But, looking at it, yeah, maybe we could have that. But here's the thing, boys. Here's the thing. What I keep saying. We got a 35 save performance from Joey Decord. You have to capitalize on that. And Joey Decord was our best player in that game. Not even close. I mean, it was a very nice play by Tomas Tatar. And there is some data out there from The Athletic regarding Matty Beniers and defense. So I'll talk about good defense hopefully later in the week. But we can't keep doing this, whether it's Joey Decord, whether it's Martin Jones, Chris Drieger, your best friend down the street. We have gotten quality games, stellar performances from Joey Dax. And to say that, again, statistically, this wasn't a quality start for Joey, I'm not going to harp on the guy for this. Because I've told you before the All-Star break that he probably is getting close to being run down. We've said it before. He saved our hide a lot of times, kept us in games that we probably shouldn't have been in based on what we were doing offensively and or defensively. So this is not a Joey Decord issue. This is a Seattle Kraken team that needs to figure some things out. And so again, I really enjoyed the radio program that I listened to. Well, I listened to it this morning. I don't know if Mike put it up overnight, so just put that out there. But I listened to it this morning and having the conversation, now that we know we're in a back-to-back, which is tonight because it's a game day in New Jersey, just chuck right on up I-95 from Philly to Jersey. And, I don't know if you would take I-95. Newark is not really, sorry, that's not the point. That's not the point. I just got a little stuck in my head. I'm from there. I'm from that part of the country. Anyway, the point is they went north and a little east, I guess, and are in New Jersey. Who are we going to see in net? We're told Philip Grubauer is healthy, right? That's why Chris Drieger isn't with the squad. It looks like we're starting to get back healthy. Do you give? And I thought it was an interesting conversation. I want to get into that later on the show because it goes into what I've been talking about. When do we give Joey rest? How much do we ride Joey? Do we need to get Philip touches before the playoffs? Well, we have to make the playoffs first, and that is not a guarantee. We're going to talk about that coming up on the show. I told you, again, I'm not going to do the button game, but I do have these cards. If you haven't already, in the comments, number 1 through 6, and we're going to collectively together with, our I'm still a little fog brained from my cold, but we're going to predict together who's going to be the key player, and it's going to come from one of these cards. That and more coming up on today's episode of Locked On Kraken. Today's episode of Locked On Kraken, as I mentioned at the top of the show, brought to you by our friends at Sleeper. It's we're through the halfway point of the NHL season, and it's time for the Seattle Kraken to make a statement in a big way, and that's what this episode and every episode for the rest of the season is going to be about. But regardless of where we are in the standings, I want to remind you that you could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our number one choice for daily fantasy sports, and especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. What players that you want to pick in the week, what stats you want to focus on, you get to pick all of those things in the Sleeper app, and entries can be made in under a minute. All you have to do is pick whether studs like Matty Beniers, Yanni Gourde, or even Joey Decord will record more or less than their Sleeper projections in things like goals, assists, saves, plus minus, and more given in any given game. Tonight's game against the New Jersey Devils. To win 100 times your bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard me right, Kraken fans. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's Locked On NHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability. Thanks as always for making Locked On Kraken a part of your daily destination. Erica L. Ayala here. I want to remind you that it's a game day. You can listen to the Kraken on Sirius SXM. You want to listen to the Devils? Go for it. I'm not on Devils radio today. I did that once, and it was a lot of fun. But, of course, you can listen to Alan Everett, and I think they're crushing it. Their analysis post-game was fantastic. We're going to get into it a little bit more. You can also listen to Locked On Kraken, Locked On NHL, any of the Locked On shows on Sirius SXM. You can also check out our 24/7 streaming channel, Locked On Sports Today. Actually, you'll get redirected right there after watching this. So make sure you check out Locked On Sports Today, which includes Locked On NHL. And Locked On NHL, of course, includes our Women's Hockey Spotlight hosted by me, yours truly. All right, I see I've got some numbers in the chat. I've got 5. I've got 4. Let's see what I'm not going to give you my number. I haven't even come up with it yet, but I'll pick a number and then we'll see if we have consensus on who we think is going to be the player to watch. Maybe we'll have a few. Okay, I kind of talked about this, and I like this striatic, and that's exactly what Al and Everett were talking about. The comment is, maybe putting in Grew might help spark the team for more Fs. Yes, give me all of the Fs. All of the Fs. We had no Fs against Philadelphia, which they're a PH, not an F, but, you know, like, phonetically, that would have been nice to have more Fs against Philly, but we didn't. We had no Fs. We had no Fs against Philly. So are we going to have some Fs in New Jersey for the Devils? I sure hope so. This is a team we can beat. I was disappointed with how we played them last time. So putting Grew in. Now, I liked what Al said here, and I agree with him. What Al said, if you haven't listened to the synopsis or the recap, I guess, Alan Everett did a great job. What Al was saying, and I feel like this is what happens when you and Everett asked a great question. He's like, if Joey's the presumptive number one, do you go with him again? Do you give Philip a game and then kind of see what happens? And the first thing Al said is something I couldn't agree with more. And I hope is happening. I would assume it is, but this is where Steve Briere, in particular, as the goalie coach, needs to have a conversation with his goaltenders, but specifically with Joey Decord. And the way Al broke it down, which I really loved, And this is there's actually something, we're not going to talk about it on today's episode, but Allison Lucan has been doing these Q&As. She did one with Ron Francis we talked about a week or so ago. And there's one up now with Coach Hack. And so in the one-on-one, Allison mentions the open door policy that Dave Hack still has and how the players really appreciate and respect that. So Al basically is taking that open door policy approach to how you go into goaltending for tonight. If Joey Daccord felt that he left some stuff in the tank, then maybe you have a conversation with him and you give him an opportunity, especially if you want him to be your number one, your ride or die. It's not an eBay Motors Day, but I just really like that line. He's our ride or die. I do think so. I think he's our number one right now. So you have a conversation with your A1, your 1A. With your first goaltender, you have a conversation and you're like, what are you feeling? Do you need rest? And this is what I wished maybe was done. Hopefully this was done before San Antonio's basketball. I told you I still got flu brain. I want them to let Joey just be in communication with Joey. What I don't want to happen at this point in the season is for Joey to have those starts taken away from him. I think he's played better than that. I think he deserves the respect and the presumptive number one for right now. And if Philip Grubauer plays like we know he can, there is a chance that Philip Grubauer comes in and we see Philip the rest of the way. I want to get into that scenario later. But I like this. I like what Al is saying. Have a conversation with Joey Dax. If he feels he left something in the tank, give him another start. And then I'm adding this a little bit. I'm adding a little to what Al said. But you have specific goals. This is what I want. Now this is all me. Have a conversation. If Joey gets the start, I want to know specifically, well, not that they need to tell me, but I would hope that the team knows specifically what the areas of focus need to be for Joey. I get the sense that's how Joey thinks. He can react to that. And so can the rest of the team, to be honest. And at a point where I do think we're teetering on the cusp of Joey needing rest, if he doesn't feel he needs rest, then you can be, I think, very concrete and specific and say, listen, Joey, look at where we are in the standings. We got to get some wins. And not all wins and losses can be put on your goaltender. I'm not saying that. But you can, within the scope of his work, give some metrics and things that he needs to be doing consistently. Positioning, communication, redirecting pucks, minimizing dangerous, juicy rebounds. These are the kinds of things. And if it's not quite working, then maybe you say, you know what, Joey, let's switch it up. This is a time when we need wins. We want you rested, and we're not where we want to be right now. You've done great for us. Let's put Philip in there. See what happens. Or you just give Philip the net. Either way, Phillips, if he doesn't play tonight, he's got to play tomorrow, right? The thing about giving Joey the start again is that he gets at least the opportunity, in theory at least, to correct, right? And change some things, especially if he didn't feel good about Philly. Now, if he's like, no, I need a rest, I'm okay, do what you got to do, I don't know. Who did we see in net against New Jersey? I guess we saw, I could just look it up. I guess we saw Joey, because it was in Seattle. I'll just pull it up. I have it here. I think the reason you give Philip the start is because I do think Joey has been overtaxed. The reason you give Philip the start is because give another look to the Devils right now. Everyone's got the scout on Joey, right? Everyone's got the scout on Joey Daccord right now. So just give Philip a start. What do we lose? He's supposed to be our guy, right? What do we lose by putting him in? Nothing, in theory. So I'd be okay with that. And we do need to get Philip involved. Yeah, it was it was Gruby. Okay, I was mistaken. We actually saw Philip Grubauer against the Devils. We lost that game. Okay, maybe Joey does start. I really thought it was Joey that started this game. I misremembered. I should have looked earlier. Okay, maybe just erase everything that I just said. I think that if you don't have a good idea, or if there isn't, for whatever reason, a conversation with Joey Decord, do you start playing the numbers game with the two goaltenders? The reason that I think you might do that is because then it becomes very simple. The simplicity of where we are in the season is that we need wins. And if you feel, I'm not just saying because Philip lost the game, that's why he shouldn't get the start. I was kind of being a little tongue in cheek here. Excuse me. Look at the splits. Look at how the Devils are playing right now. Who gives you the best chance to win the game? And that's who starts. And I'd be okay if we did that for the rest of the season, because we need wins. We need wins. And they're not coming. And what do we know right now? If nothing else changes in how we're playing, we know that wins and losses heavily depends on how well our goaltending competes. And we almost need them to have a quality start, where they're saving beyond saves expected. They're limiting and they're keeping that number low, lower than goals expected for the opponent. That's just where we are. Our most consistent play right now is coming from our goaltending. So I don't know. I went on a little goaltending rant. I didn't mean to do that. Turn the page. You have to turn the page, and you have to get back to the 3 Fs if you're the Seattle Kraken. The energy does not start with an F, although, like, for me, fun and energy and forechecking and energy, it's all related. You got to have more energy. I mean, 2 shots in the third. I mean, shots on goal, but 2. Jared talks about Philly. I mean, everyone talked about Philly being great at blocking shots, things like that. So, take that with a grain of salt. But that speaks to me of the offense not being nimble, not being creative, not being at some points patient enough, and some points not just kind of efficient. But we have to be able to find shooting lanes. Our offense is anemic. We actually did 2 nice little specials with Ann Kimmel from Locked On Predators. I think you're going to enjoy them. And we talked about the anemic offense right now for the Seattle Kraken. Coming into this game, just some numbers to keep in mind. The Seattle Kraken, we're not doing the most that we can. We're not as efficient as we can be when it comes to shooting. When you look at the splits right now between the Devils and the Kraken, the Kraken, 25th overall in goals for at 2.76. We're going up against an offense that's 4th overall in the league at 3.38. That means that we need to keep them below that 3-point and above threshold, or we need to score 3 goals or more. And that's something, again, with Jeff Baker's article we talked about last week, what we got into a little bit. Now, the New Jersey Devils also give up 3.52 goals, so we can expose them in that category. 29th in the league. We give up 2.86. Again, stingy goaltending has kept us in games. But if we're not scoring at a higher clip than our opponent, then that doesn't matter. Face-offs is somewhere that the Seattle Kraken felt that they were improving a little bit. We're at a 20th overall, 47.6% clip to a 53.9% clip for the Devils tonight. Power play, the Devils have the 9th best power play in the league at a 24.2% clip. We're at 21.3, but that leaves us at 16th in the league. Our power play or penalty kills, are roughly the same, 79.5 for the Devils, 78.7 for the Kraken. Fun, fast, and forechecking, folks. Oh, that was 4 Fs. Something's got to give. And the odds, are they in our favor? That's what we're going to talk about coming up as we close out this live episode of Locked On Kraken. Today's episode of Locked On Kraken brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. You can use the quick bets tab. You can use same game parlay tab. There's an exclusive props tab and so much more, including future bets, Stanley Cup playoffs bets, wild card. We're going to talk about some of those coming up. Just visit fanduel.com/lockedon and shoot your shot. Yeah, Kraken, shoot your shot, boys. Shoot your shot. FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the National Basketball Association. Coming up in this third segment, the odds in our favor. In short, the answer is no. Jeff Baker had an article on this. We're also going to take you to our friends at Davy Jones' locker room because they scrounged up some of the numbers from throughout the odds. Before we do that, I want to let you know, as I mentioned, if you were watching live, I mentioned the odds that you can find on FanDuel. And so I'm going to show you the odds. These are odds for the Seattle Kraken to make the playoffs. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for you, and I'll read it to you as well if you are not watching on YouTube. Western Conference teams to make the playoffs 2023-24. The Seattle Kraken are at a plus 450 right now, a la FanDuel. You can also check out, if you wanted, like I said, team futures, team points, all of those things, the games. I just want to show you this before we go into odds overall for the Seattle Kraken to make the playoffs. We've got a plus 1.5 for the Seattle Kraken tonight, a minus 1.5 for the Devils, over 6.5 for the Kraken, under 6.5 for the Devils. But here are the odds to make the playoffs. As of today, thank you, Davy Jones Locker Room. Evolving Hockey has us at 31.1%. Money Puck has us at 21.4%. And I believe Jeff tweeted that actually has gone down 1 percentage point since his article. Betting Market implied odds 18.2%. Hockey Viz 16%, and The Athletic has us at 11%. Aggregate, thank you, JV Joins Locker Room, 19.5%. So yeah, I'm saying there's a chance. I'm just not saying, or not me, but the experts are saying there's not a good chance. And again, you'll hear my conversation with Ann. We talk about the wild card scenario. It was supposed to be like just one segment, and then me in particular, I kind of went off. I'm nervous. I'm going to sneak peek, spoiler alert. I'm nervous. And it's not only because the Calgary Flames have now leapfrogged us in the wild card. It's not only because, as I keep saying, the goal differential is still in the minus for us, that anemic offense. It's not just because we rely too much on goaltending and then again, the anemic offense. But for me, the biggest reason that I'm very concerned for the Seattle Kraken at this point in the season, in particular, in our season and in the NHL season, is because I'm not sure that we're learning our lessons. I'm not sure that we're really digging deep enough to be a consistent team We have a lot more potential in the tank than what we have exposed throughout this season, in my opinion. Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments. I think there's too much untapped potential, like kinetic energy, potential energy. We're storing up a lot of potential, but we're not putting it out there. And that goes back to if we can be a fun team. I don't know. Who do we have to make a joke about on a t-shirt? If we are forechecking, when you forecheck, the reason I love this for the Seattle Kraken is because you are forcing the issue. You can control the cadence. And isn't that exactly what Dave said he wanted his team to do coming out of the break? We don't want other teams scoring first. We don't want to be giving up shorthanded goals on our power play. Listen, I'm not going to get into cross-checking someone after they wind up for a slap shot on an empty net. I'm not going to get into that. But if you are someone who is offended by that, then you should also be offended by another team scoring on your power play. How about that? I do not condone cross-checking someone in the face ever, and certainly not what I believe to be a cheap shot. But if you are one to be offended, and if you are one that maybe would want to do that, whether you did it or not, hopefully you would not. If you are a player that would be offended by a slap shot in an empty net, then be as offended. Be as offended. Not literally, but emotionally. Use it as, whiteboard poster material. Be as offended. Protect your net with the same fervor and ferocity when you are on the power play. Do not give up shorthanded goals. Don't do it. Pride yourself enough to have a strong forecheck, to have good puck possession. Jared McCann said he liked what they were doing in the third, cycling a little bit. Okay, that's cute, but you can't just cycle for the sake of cycling. You have to also shoot the puck. You have to try to score. And if you're not getting through the blocks, if you're not getting through the goaltender, then you have to pass through. You have to have a net front presence. You have to be pesky. You have to move your feet. You have to find ways to draw penalties. And then, as I mentioned multiple times, do not give up a shorthanded goal when you have the power play. Let's not do that. Let's not do that, okay? Let's not do that. I don't want to see it anymore. We got to stop. Self-inflicted wounds. We have to stop. We have to stop. We have to stop. And I would have more confidence in that 20% if we didn't do that. And we're doing it too much. We're putting too much on Joey in particular. Not enough defensively. We gotta buckle down. Okay, I'm gonna go with I'm feeling 3. I'm feeling the number 3. So we've got a 3, 4, and a 5. Okay, so 1, 2. I like this. This is my pick, I guess. 3. Jared McCann will be a factor tonight. Considering he had the only 2 shots on goal in the third period against Philadelphia, I like that pick. Okay. Ooh, I like this one too. Number 4. Who's that? Melinda, that's you. Number 4, that's Jordan Eberle. He's going to have a big game tonight. I love it. I love to see it. Fantastic. Zap, what do you got for me? Number 5. This one is different. I'm okay with this, though. Jamie Alexiak. Come on. Give me some Jamie Alexiak tonight. Jamie Alexiak. I like it. Those are your 3 key performers. Oh, and I didn't mean to put this in frame, but you knew once I picked it up, I was going to do it. My boy, Ryan Donato, I wish him nothing but happiness in life. But our 3 players of the game, per my very random, just because I want to have fun too. This is me bringing the Fs. I'm bringing all of the Fs today. So we're going to have fun with this. We're going to go Jared McCann. We're going to go Jordan Eberle. And we're going to go Jamie Alexiak, which coincidentally are the 3 J's. Not the 3 J's I usually talk about, but I love the power of 3. I'm one of 3 daughters. I believe in the number 3. So we're going to go there. I actually picked number 3. Yeah, so that works. It's all on brand. Let's have some fun, boys. Let's have some fun tonight. You know what's super fun is when you take something from someone and they can't do anything about it. That's forechecking. And the way you do that usually is by being fast. There you go. 3 Fs. I want to see a good game. I do not want to have to talk about a Devils win tomorrow. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. No. I love it. Big Rig is due for some offense, I think. Well, it's in the cards. Literally, it's in the cards. He's got it. Well, alrighty then. I mean, I know I said a lot. I have a lot of feels, but I do not want to lose to the Devils. We need to give all of the Fs. It just has to happen. Ooh, this is a good one, Striatic. And we definitely hit on this with my conversation coming up with Ann Kimmel. Odds below the Flames. Below the Flames. But that's okay. That's okay. I mean, it's not okay. It's not okay. I don't think it's okay. What I mean to say is we have time, but not a lot. And I'm giving the Seattle Kraken through the end of this road trip to get it together, or else I think Ron Francis has to make some choices for the team. I mean, that's literally his job all the time, but he's got to make some decisions. Are we buyers? Are we sellers? Are we doing nothing? I really hope it's not the latter. We need to make a move. First, it has to come from the players and deciding that they have not only knowing that they have more to give, but deciding that they're going to give it, all of the Fs, give all of the Fs and then some. And if for whatever reason that's not enough, which it might not be, and that's hockey, baby, that's sports, right? We're not in isolation to what is happening to us. There's other teams trying to make the playoffs as well. If that's not enough, which it might not be, and we're running out of time to have it be completely in our hands, then you have to, Ron Francis and company, make a decision on what this team is going to be in the future. And I don't know that we have those answers right now. All right, Jamie Alexiak, Jordan Eberle, Jared McCann, and just for fun, because I miss him, Ryan Donato. These are going to be our impact players. We called it. It's in the cards. It's in the cards. That's our show. Thanks so much for joining. A reminder that you can check out Locked On Sports Today. Locked On Sports Today. That is going to come up right after this. It'll send you right over there if you want to hang tight for that. But we've got a game. We've got a game tonight. So just this one time, don't tell anyone I said it. But if you don't go to Locked On NHL or Locked On Sports Today immediately following this podcast, that's totally fine. We got business to take care of, all right? We got to hold fast. We got to stay true. And we say loud and proud tonight, let's go Kraken. Always, though, remember to be kind to yourself and kind to one another. I will catch you on the next episode, which should be tomorrow. The voice, it's not perfect, but it's holding up. So I think we're going to be okay. I'm trying to stick within this like 4 to 6 p.m. Central time zone as far as having new episodes, whether they're live or otherwise. So we should have something good for you. It's a back-to-back. So let's go get this win. And then we'll worry about what happens tomorrow. Whoever starts tonight, I'm pretty sure we get the next starter tomorrow. Either way, let's back our team. Let's back our boys. Give them all of the Fs that we have so that they can get all of their Fs in a row. And let's get this win against the Devils. All right, everyone. Until next episode, thank you so much for joining me. And this has been another fantastic episode, live episode of Locked On Kraken. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.